Lieutenant Colonel, you dealt with some pushback this summer in the wake of protests over the police killing of first responder Breonna Taylor, who was shot and killed by cops who used a no-knock warrant while breaking down the door of her Louisville, Kentucky home while she was sleeping. Now, you were criticized for not attending the early protests and for making no mention of the incident in a campaign ad you put out. There are still no arrests or charges against the officers who killed Breonna Taylor. Do you regret not doing more to bring about justice in her case?
You know, the death of Breonna Taylor was an absolute tragedy. And I have been to demonstrations and memorial services around Kentucky dealing with her death and the racial injustice that we've seen and what people have been demonstrating all around the country and talking about. I think in this case, the investigation is still ongoing. And my personal feeling is it's gone on too long. I mean, I think that the Attorney General here should release this at this point. So I would like to see that happen so that justice can be done, you know, in this case.
Lieutenant Colonel, let's talk about the coronavirus, because Kentucky is in very bad shape, like many parts of the country. Now, Mitch McConnell is working on the next stimulus bill, but when he was asked for it, if it would be ready by next week, when benefits are about to expire, he left. Tell me something. Yeah. What's so funny about that?
It's terrible. And, you know, this is a pattern with Senator McConnell. You know, he legislates by emergency, basically. And, you know, here is a man who, if you think about his response to coronavirus from the very, very beginning, it's been pathetic. First of all, he has the highest level of clearance of almost any member of Congress. And when was the first time he even told his fellow Americans about the coronavirus, even warned a word about it? I'll tell you when. It wasn't until the stock market crashed. And then as things progressed, he allowed an administration to basically have mixed messages, to play the threat down. Even before the coronavirus hit, he was trying to cut funding for the pandemic portion of the Center for Disease Control and the National Institute of Health for years. He was trying to do that. And then when it comes to the emergency relief bills, what does he champion? He champions $500 billion slush funds for corporations with no accountability whatsoever. And at the same time, then when it comes to funding that we all need to keep the state afloat, to keep social workers have their jobs, firefighters, police officers, what happens then? You know, he says, well, the state and local governments ought to consider bankruptcy. I mean, this is just not the way we do business. It's not what we should be doing right now. And currently, with this current bill, you know, he's had all of this time to work on this. We knew it was going to be a problem back in April, May, June, and he just had no urgency. And now all of a sudden, you know, we've got all of these benefits ending, and people are really hurting. It's pathetic.